Ryan Carter had worked at Linden Co. for nearly a decade. He knew every detail of the restaurant, every regular customer, every nuance of the exclusivity he had helped shape. He was the first line of defense, filtering out those who, in his judgment, did not fit the refined atmosphere of the establishment. That afternoon, as the lunch service was winding down and the restaurant was still bathed in a hushed calm, the door swung open. Instinctively, Ryan looked up, ready to assess the new arrivals. He saw a black couple enter, dressed elegantly. The man wore a tailored suit, the woman a flowing silk blouse. They carried themselves with an effortless confidence that commanded attention. But it wasn't them who unsettled Ryan. It was the children. A boy of about 14 awkwardly adjusting his tie, and a little girl no older than 10 clutching an expensive-looking handbag as if unaware of its worth. Ryan tensed. This wasn't normal. This restaurant wasn't a place for families like theirs. He wasn't racist, of course not. He knew black customers who dined here, celebrities, high-profile businessmen, patrons who understood and respected Linden Co.'s exclusivity. But this family? They seemed too ordinary, too comfortable, as if they had every right to be here, as if they belonged in this space he considered carefully curated. A slow irritation built inside him. He wouldn't let this happen. He put on a polite smile, but his tone remained firm. "May I help you?" The man returned his smile with quiet assurance. "Yes, we'd like a table for 4. Ryan didn't even glance at the reservation book. He already knew his answer. He didn't need to check. "I'm sorry, but we're fully booked." He expected to see disappointment flicker across their faces, maybe an additional inquiry or a sigh of frustration. But the man didn't flinch. Instead, he took a slow look around the dining room, his gaze sweeping over the many empty tables. "That's strange," he said calmly. "It looks like there are several open tables." Ryan's fingers instinctively tightened on the host's stand. He hated customers like this, the ones who didn't accept a simple no, the ones who challenged his implicit authority. A wave of heat rushed through him, a mix of unease and irritation. His smile faltered slightly, but he quickly recovered. "Those tables are reserved," he replied, his voice steady and assured. He knew it was a lie. He knew the couple in front of him knew it was a lie, and yet he held his gaze firm, ready to defend his territory. The woman had a brief reaction, a slight purse of her lips, a fleeting glance at her husband, but she remained silent. The boy, however, looked at his mother before turning his attention back to Ryan. His expression was unreadable, but something in his eyes made Ryan uneasy. A mixture of intelligence and understanding, as if he saw exactly what was happening, as if he knew. A prickling discomfort ran down Ryan's spine. The little girl tightened her grip on her father's sleeve. They were all waiting for his response. The man exhaled softly, then nodded, accepting the explanation without argument. "In that case, we'll wait." Ryan fought the urge to roll his eyes. His irritation flared into pure frustration. This was unbearable. Why couldn't they take the hint? This restaurant wasn't for them. He maintained his syrupy smile and shook his head gently. "I'm afraid there won't be any openings tonight." This time the woman sighed, shifting her bag from one arm to the other. The little girl clung tighter to her father. The silence stretched, heavy and uncomfortable. Ryan felt his pulse quicken. He wanted them gone. He wanted this moment to end. An anxious heat crawled up his neck, a sense that this situation was slipping from his control. Finally, the man nodded. "All right, then we'll leave." Relief flooded Ryan. It was over. Except it wasn't. Before stepping through the door, the woman turned slightly and asked, her tone neutral, "Are you sure you don't want to call your manager?" Ryan let out a quiet chuckle. He forced a casual shrug, as if this were all just a minor inconvenience. "I'm sure." She gave a small smile, barely there, but it sent an inexplicable chill down his spine. A few seconds later, they were gone. Ryan exhaled, running a hand over his neck to release the tension. He had done the right thing. He had protected the restaurant's image. That was the end of it. Except it wasn't. Inside the restaurant, murmurs began to rise. A few customers who had witnessed the exchange exchanged knowing glances. A woman in a black suit, seated near the entrance, discreetly pulled out her phone and typed something. A waiter, who had overheard the conversation, shook his head, concern etched on his face. Then Paul, the general manager, stormed out of his office, his stride urgent. His gaze darted around the room before locking onto Ryan. "Where are they?" Ryan frowned. Who? Paul stepped closer, his voice dropping to a near whisper, but there was nothing calm about it. There was fear. The family that just left. Where are they? Ryan's blood ran cold, though he wasn't sure why. They left. Paul went pale. He swore under his breath before rushing toward the door. Ryan watched as he stepped outside, scanning the street. When he finally spotted them, he froze. Paul stopped dead in his tracks, and suddenly Ryan understood. The man he had just turned away wasn't just any customer. It was Leon Bennett, the owner of the restaurant chain. Ryan's entire body went cold. He felt the ground tilt beneath him. He had turned away his own boss. Leon Bennett turned his head toward Paul, nodded once, and then stepped toward the entrance. He was coming back inside. A shiver of dread crawled down Ryan's spine. He had made a terrible mistake, and now he was going to pay the price.